Hello, everybody. I hope you slept in and or went to church, whatever your preference is. I wanted to say hi in person today, and happy Easter and happy Oestra. I think that's how it's pronounced. Easter was founded on, well, the pagan rites of spring. I have friends who could talk more about that. I am somebody who likes to announce things when they are perfectly ready and like everything's in line. I worked over a year on my website, which I'm having to redo now. And so I'm really trying, in the last maybe year, I've really been trying to do the imperfect action perfectly imperfect. And so on Easter, when, especially throughout history and even today, so many eyes are turned to Rome, I have something to announce. For years and years, I don't know which notebook it's in, but for at least almost 10 years, about 10 years ago, I got this idea. And when I get an idea, I want to hang on to it. I want to do all of them. But especially when there's a great title, I got this idea, and it's kooky and it's crazy and it's even a little bit out of my wheelhouse. So it's called The Boot by Boot. So today, I don't have any links for you today. I will tomorrow. But yeah, here's the idea. Here's the proclamation. I am going to hike the length of Italy. I'm going to hike from the top, as far towards that top triangle as I can get, and then all the way down and around down to the bottom of Sicily, the southernmost point. And this is going to happen this fall. Oh, I'm scared. Okay. My friends know, we've been talking about this and I've been saying, yeah, I'm going to do, but it's one thing talking to your friends, and then it's the other, like pronouncing it, proclaiming it. And, am I a perfectly unfit hiker? No. Am I, because hello, middle age and menopause. Am I acquainted with Italy? Kind of. I've read a lot of books. I am learning Italian. That's one thing that I'm going to be doing on this trip. I don't even know if I would call it a trip. It is a trip. I recognize that, going from Colorado to Italy. But yeah, it is a pilgrimage, kind of. It's a journey back. Okay, so for most of my life, we may have had this conversation. When people ask you, hey, what would you do if money were no object? And without fail and without exception, it shifted a little when I was a mom, and I am a mom when I became a mom. But without fail, it is, I would like a backpack filled with a serviceable wardrobe, enough paper and pen to keep writing, my camera, an unlimited plane ticket, and the ability to go. And I would just take off, because that is who I am at my core. I don't want to cry, but since I can remember, I have been in love with books. I have been in love with seeing the world. And I look back now, I'm 53. I turned 54 this year. And I look back and I see where I could have made different decisions to become that person, the person that I knew I was inside myself. And I can judge. I judged really harshly for a really long time. But then I see like all of these hamperings, and where I really felt like I couldn't make that decision. I couldn't go to Taiwan because I didn't have my degree yet. And then when I had my degree, I had kids, and I'm so thankful for my children and my family, and I would not choose anything over them for $1 million, a million years. But I have always subsumed that kind of spark and catalyst and rolling stone kind of person inside of me. Every time I've traveled, and you guys, a lot of you have come along on those journeys, I meet people and I see people, and somehow I find like that we're all so much alike, and I make friends. I still have friends from almost all of my trips, and this one is crazy, okay? Last summer I went for 2 weeks to see my mom's grave for the first time since she was buried. And that was an amazing trip. And FYI, if you supported me for that trip, thank you. I updated you on the GoFundMe, but it gave me back a relationship with my Uncle Bud. And I'm talking to someplace to mount the exhibition of the photos from that trip. So you guys will be seeing photos from that trip kind of officially. And so yeah, I'm going to be fundraising for this. I'm going to be looking for sponsors. A friend of mine, her dad hiked a really, really long trip in the US, and he got Outward Bound and Kodak to sponsor him. I don't know. I'm going to be working just to get there this fall. End of September, beginning of October, and then I'm just gonna see what happens. My instinct is to overplan this, okay? To plan every little spot, every little stop, and to show you on a map and all of those things, okay? But I am really trying to prevent myself from doing that, because I want to step off the edge of the world for you guys. And going to the most civilized country in the world maybe is not how I would have imagined myself doing this, okay? I would have said, I'm going to Mongolia first. However, the boot by boot really touches my heart, and it gets me back to the Jene that when you hit this age, you can look back, right? We all look back and we see places where we could have been more ourselves. My therapist one time, she said, you really need to figure out why you were brought into this world with so many talents and skills and passions, and then given exactly the kind of upbringing in the church, especially, that would squelch them. Because in the church, you're not supposed to think of your own needs or passions. You're supposed to subsume those in bringing people to Christ. And being a leader, especially, and a teacher, I mean, that's what I was supposed to be doing, is bringing people to the altar. And the only way I could have been a traveler would have been if I had been a missionary. And for whatever reason, I never felt, well, no, I know the reasons. I'm not going to get into it now, but I didn't feel good enough to be a missionary, frankly. I look back on that and wow, right? I know my heart. I knew my heart then, and I was totally good enough, but I just didn't go that route. And then when I left the church, I had my first kid, my wonderful Sophia, and then I had 2 more. And since then, money and all of those things, and it was never a priority. I had to let it go. And now that my youngest is going to be a senior next year, and we negotiated about this trip, I was like, do you want me to be home during the summer when you're home and then go while you're in school? Or do you want me to, when do you want me to go with this thing? And that was after figuring out that for years, since I had this in my notebook, I thought that Italy was as tall as the United States. I'm a smart person, but I thought that. That's so dumb. And a friend of mine was like, Jene, it fits inside California. And so it suddenly became very possible. And I'm going to document it with daily, if not, as much daily posting and sharing with you as possible. I'm learning Italian. I have a general kind of route. I'll show you tomorrow the little graphic that I made to my general idea. I'm doing tons of research, of course, but I also have friends who have family in Italy. And I guess I just want to go and I want to start walking. And I want to walk from the north to the south because it's warmer there. And I want to see the people and meet people and learn things and just kind of be in a place that's hosted scads of people for years, for centuries. Rome is celebrating its 2,776th, I think, birthday this year. 2,000 years, 2,776 years of occupation. Now, I live in Colorado, and I know that, we European white people took over this area. We stole it from the Indians. We stole it from Native Americans. We stole it from the people who had been here for centuries. So I'm not like elevating one or the other. I know that my house sits on land that was stewarded by people who lived here as long as that. However, I thought I had Indian in me. I don't know. I'll have to talk to you, Aunt Carolyn, about all of that, because I got my DNA and I'm like whitey white. But I think what I wanted to say today is that I don't think I'm alone in wanting to get back to who I really am. And, what's the slowest way to do that? The theme of this trip is lost time. And that's what I've been feeling a lot. Even looking back at my just depression and panic disorder riddled parenthood of my children when they were young, I'm finally healing from that, and I don't have panic attacks hardly at all, y'all. I used to have them like twice a day, like big black ratcheting down of vision and tingling and just horrible. And I don't have that anymore, and I lost a lot of my life to that. And I guess anymore every now and then. We look back and we think that our time is lost. The years that we spent with the wrong person, the years we spent in the wrong job, the years that I didn't just make the money and go. I see friends who are parents and they go, even now, and they always have, and somehow I didn't find that. And one of the things that's helped me with lost time, right? Two kind of analogies. You think of a mountain pass, and that pass wouldn't exist without the empty space between the rocks. We wouldn't call that air material or, something. The rocks are something. The mountain is something. The trail is something. But not the air. And yet you couldn't get from one side to the other without that empty space. Same with we're all, in Colorado, it's a warm day, but we're still we get cold days. We have snow predicted next week. And layering, right? Layering. Everybody says layer when you go places. The only reason layering works is because of the air sandwiched in between the two things. If it were solid, it wouldn't be as warm. It wouldn't be as useful or effective. And I propose that what we see as lost time in our lives is like that air. It's not actually lost. It has meaning. It was important. There are a million ways that it could have added value. But when we lose time by either wasting time, by going slow, I'm not going to like stand completely on that soapbox today, but industrialization has done us a disfavor with our humanity. We need to reclaim losing time and wasting time, because what is wasting to the industrialized mindset is simply human. And that's part of this as well. I want to be as human as possible in a place that has had tons of humans as possible. When you scroll into Italy, you can do this with where you live. Colorado is a little different. We have a lot of wilderness, right? But when you zoom in, it's just like town after town, where we end up having forests. It's like little village after little village, and a lot of you probably know this way better than me. I've had friends tell me and explain, no, Jene, you're not going to really have to camp. You're just going to like go from town to town, you know. I thought I was going to have to backpack the whole way. But there are people everywhere there, and it's a little different than how I see my world and experience my world. My city is really big in land. To go from one side to the other, you know, takes at least half an hour, if not more, driving. And I'm going to be training, walking more. I'm going to be taking increasingly long walks, and I will be inviting some of you on those. One of my hopes and dreams is to raise enough money to invite other women who are kind of in the same place as I am, with lost time and midlife and all of those things, to walk part of this with me. The other thing is that I have POTS. I don't think I've talked to you guys about this a whole lot. It's called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. When I stand up, I get really dizzy. My brain doesn't tell my nerves to pump the blood back up to my head. So a lot of the time when I'm dehydrated, I can hear the blood pumping through my head if I like lay on my stomach, all kinds of things. It basically means that when I'm standing still, my body is working about twice as hard as most people's to just pump the blood back up to my head. There are things that help, like I put salt on everything and I wear compression stuff a lot of the time. But it doesn't take it away. It's just part of who I've been since I was a child. And thank God, you know, modern diagnoses have helped. But hiking that far is gonna be not easy. And yet I'm really strong and I'm healthy, and knock on wood. And I'm ready to get over there and see what happens. I'm really thankful and grateful that I have the space in my life to do something like this. The last thing I'm going to just say, because I have, like, you know, who I've always been. I read this book one time, I think it was in junior high or high school, called Walk Across China. And maybe that's where this came from, right? China and Italy are a little different. Squitch. And however, you know, I think that's always been in my heart to walk across something. And maybe I start walking across places for you guys. If I had been, you know, if I were 25 right now, I would be a travel journalist, blogger person, right? Who's to say I can't do that? Like, I'm not going to listen to the people who say I'm too old. I'm not going to listen to the people who say I've missed my opportunity, because I have lived in that place for too long inside my own heart and my head. And I don't have the money, okay? But I really have a heart for showing everyone the rest of the world and the people that we can all find. If I can find somebody that I connect with in the middle of Morocco or in the middle of Paris, then you and I can find someone to connect with in Colorado Springs, in our home, at the grocery store, wherever we go. There's always someone to connect with. And if we can do it, through language barriers, then why can't we do it at home? And I really wish that travel were more accessible to everybody. It was there for a while, and it goes back and forth, and I just wish that we could. I don't really like the term trip of a lifetime. I want, if somebody wants to go, I support you. I want to help you get there. A lot of people think that they want to go, but then when they get there, it's really uncomfortable a lot of the time. That's another way I'm preparing for this. I do what's called discomfort training. It sounds silly, okay? But I'm in my own home, and this morning I took a shower. My hair is still wet. And I had forgotten to put the towels like next to the shower, right? And I was like, oh, crap. And on the one hand, it's a little thing. But when you're in an unfamiliar place, sometimes maybe they won't have towels, and you might have to make do with the hand towel. And as I made do with the hand towel, and I have really thick hair, so it was a pain in the ass. I thought, nope, I'm just gonna run with it and be fine with it, and revel in the discomfort a little bit. So I'm gonna be doing that training, learning Italian, and then the other thing is that for my main route, I'm going to be walking the whole way. And then every now and then, at certain places like Florence, up in Verona or Bologna area, I'm going to stick for a few days, and I'll use public transportation or whatever to go see things that are off the trail, basically. Up north, if I were to try and go this way across, it would take way, way, way longer on the kind of cuff of Italy. If I were to go from big city to big city. So I want to show you guys Venice. I want to show you guys Milan. I want to see Genoa. But those are all kind of on the outside. So I'm going to be going from the middle, from the top and the middle down, and then kind of zigzagging a tiny bit. So midlife, POTS, and recovering my old self, my true self. And I need to say something, by the way. I had this speech prepared that was all about the people of Italy and all the reasons that this was a good idea. But I need to rest. A friend of mine told me this, and it's taken a few days for it to really sink in. I need to be silly. That's who I am. I get crazy ideas, and sometimes they work out, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes they don't resonate with me, and I guess that's what an artist is, right? That's what an artist does, and that's who I am. I'm working on books, in my stores, I'm trying to get all of these things going, and I think I'm humbly asking. This is really uncomfortable. Because it feels like I'm in some pulpit asking you guys for money. God. My plan, my hope with this is to jumpstart what I really want to do with my life. And I don't necessarily mean that I'll be in some foreign place all the time. But I'm humbly asking for you to help me have the life that I've always wanted. It is already so rich. If you're watching, we have probably connected in a hurt way, in fun or craziness, who knows? But I treasure you. I treasure this community. I treasure my family. I treasure the Facebook community. But I also know that I am like that spark that travels along and catalyzes things. It's always been who I am, and I'm just beginning to really understand it. And what I want to do is use this to spark more kind of adventures, but pilgrimages, ways to bring the world to people who either don't want to go or think they don't want to go or can't. And what better way than sticking it to the man and industrialization than walking, which is as wasteful and lost time as we can conceive in America. We think of it as just exercise, and that's the only way we can justify it. But I'm going to walk. Hi, Anne. I'm going to walk from the top of Italy to the southernmost point. And if I have to do it by myself, totally cool. I'm hoping to raise enough to help other, a few people if they want to come over and hike parts of it with me. But that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to leave between the middle of September to the beginning of October. And I'm going to start in the Dolomites, which scare the shit out of me. I watched videos and like, I live in the mountains. I am sitting at 6,200 feet above sea level, and that's kind of low for Colorado, but wow, these mountains are amazing. So, yeah, that's going to be a challenge. I'm going to be connecting. I'm going to be looking for sponsors, for gear, places that really support midlife and menopause for women, because nobody talks about that. We're barely starting to. And POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So that's my proclamation, and I'm proclaiming it on the day when, you know, on the TV was the Pope from St. Peter's Square doing Easter Mass. I'm going to be there at the end of this year, and I'll remember this day. And I hope that you will watch and participate and join me in it. I don't have any links for you right now. I'm still putting the finishing touches on the GoFundMe. I'm putting the it's not finishing touches. I'm having to rebuild my website because it got hacked. But you'll see stuff there. There are all kinds of ways. It's not just the GoFundMe. I have a leggings company. I'm wearing my own designs of leggings. There are things that, you know, you can support by getting something, not just yippee or a photo. So stay tuned, and the official launch will be soon. But I just wanted to share on Easter and proclaim it, to stick a pole in the sand, and hope that you'll join me in this. I know it's crazy, but I'm going to try. Okay? Happy Easter to everybody who's watching and everybody who watches this. And I hope you find some peace and some ease in this day. I'm going to try and do that too. Ciao. I'm getting there with my Italian. I'll speak more for you later. But ciao for now.